right. So welcome everyone to our Thursday night call, The Wellness Opulence. And tonight we are here. Anna and I are here, and Ashley is on vacation, and we're very happy to support her while she's away and can't wait to see her when she comes back. And we are talking about the element of wood tonight, and we're going over the organs of the liver and the gallbladder. And so before we get started, what I'm going to do is just lead us through a short meditation. And then we're going to go into the meat of the stuff. And then at the end, we are going to do a little Feng Shui for the home with the wood element. And so I invite you guys just to close your eyes for a few moments, and let's just kind of get centered into our body and play with the element of the wood tonight. So closing your eyes and lengthening your spine and just coming into your breath. And feel the breath moving in through your nose, into your chest, and into your belly. And then feel it release from the belly, releasing from the lungs and the chest and out through the nose. Inhaling through the nose, chest, belly. Exhale, belly, chest, nose. And as you continue to breathe, just see if you can lengthen your breath a little bit more, a little deeper into your belly. And as you exhale, just release any tension, anything that you brought here that you're ready to let go of, and just soften. And I'm going to read a little something from Earth Magic Oracle cards. And it's about the tree. And it's the grounding card. Consider how trees, the standing ones, exemplify balance between heaven and earth. Their branches reach out and up as if in praise of the bounty that Sky Father has to offer. Their leaves bring in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen, a vital process for so many beings on the planet, including us humans. Their trunks and roots have planted themselves firmly in the soil, allowing them to receive the gifts of another kind of nourishment from Earth Mother. In turn, they freely and gratefully give back by accommodating the needs of so many beings with what they have to offer. Imagine you see a beautiful, magnificent tree situated in a meadow at the edge of a pond, getting the early rays of light from the dawn. You see its reflection in the still water, but do not see its roots, as they are embedded in the depths of the moist, fertile body of Earth Mother. The strength of these roots supports the tree's innate desire to grow to the light, to reach not only upward, but outward as well. Just thanking the trees for their wisdom, reminding us to stay really grounded in our bodies so that we can really focus on our true path. Because if we're not grounded, we can't really have a clear vision for ourselves to move forward. Nature is always reminding us how to live. And so as we remain grounded and supported by the earth, we have a clearer vision of what our creative path is ahead of us. And we can rise up just like the tree does with the branches and up to the sky, the trunk as it rises up, and the branches that reach up towards the heavens for something new and something greater beyond. And also just watching the trees and how they sway and move with the winds that blow, reminding us to be flexible as we move through life, because we always come up against obstacles. And it's just a matter of how we maneuver through them. If we can remain flexible, like the leaves and the branches just moving gently within the wind, and stay open, then we can move more clearly into our path. And letting go of any repressed emotions that we hold on to. The trees are always reminding us to let it go. So let's connect in with the organs of the wood element, and that's the liver and the gallbladder. So by placing your hands underneath your right rib cage, over top of your liver, and the gallbladder is located just behind the liver on the right-hand side. And just send some healing, loving energy to our liver and gallbladder for all the hard work that they do for us every single day. Sorting through the blood, removing toxins, helping us to ingest or digest fats, absorb fats into our body. Just having so much gratitude for all the ways in which these organs operate. And for the gallbladder and storing and removing the bile that the liver creates to cleanse our blood. It's really quite remarkable what these organs do. So sending them lots and lots of love. And as we come out of this meditation, just begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And gently open your eyes when you're ready. And that was your little wood meditation for tonight.
So beautiful. It reminds me of like connecting with trees as a child. We're talking about inner child,
Yeah.
and work. And I mean, when was the last time you climbed a tree? And
I know.
Like trees in a childlike fashion.
Seriously, that is so much fun when we look at it from that perspective. It just makes all the difference. And they have so much to teach us, it's just amazing.
Well, even with the seasons and, how the leaves just kind of release, and it's the same as like what we experience and hold on to and repress emotionally, that sometimes we struggle to release. And I love that that's all tied into the wood element in such a neat way.
Yeah, totally. Just with like the fall time and just letting go, and the flexibility and yeah, it's just so beautiful.
I love it.
So beautiful. So this is actually, sorry, I'm in the wrong one. We want to go to week 5. So we're following Dr. Michelle Patrick's cheat codes. And so this week is the liver and gallbladder, and she's a Chinese medicine expert, and she works with Healy. And this has been just so much fun learning about our organs and when they're in balance, how they operate, and when they're out of balance. And then we go into all the Healy programs that we can run to support the elements. And Anna is so good at this. She's really in tune with the organs and the emotions that are associated with it. And so we're going to start with, I'm going to go into the wood element, and then we're going to go into the gallbladder, and then into the liver. So the body clock for the gallbladder is between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. That's when the strongest activity is. And for the liver, it's 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. And the wood element, the ideal way that the wood element would work through you would be like bamboo. And I loved how Michelle kind of gave this description. We basically just watch these videos and write out what she said because she's just so brilliant. So she was talking about how bamboo is just one of the best wood elements because it's super deeply rooted. It grows in one direction. It's not growing all over the place. And it flows with the winds, and it ebbs and flows with life, and it's flexible. And she was using the example of an oak tree that, even though oak trees are strong and big, but sometimes they can be brittle, and then the more trees move out, they can be a little weaker. So she just associates like the real strength of the wood element in the body as representative of bamboo, which I think is kind of neat. The wood constitution gives us our vision, our imagination, our direction. It has to do with benevolence and focus, and is the actualization and self-help element. And I love how it has to do with vision, just because it's, just, where our life's direction is our vision, right? It's our focus, for sure. It's very connected with the eyes. Our main emotion associated with the wood element and the liver and gallbladder is anger. And, it's so interesting because we have, I know I was raised to be nice and not to express anger. And that, I think, for a really long time, I felt that anger was a bad thing, not a good thing. And so it's amazing how much people have repressed their emotions and their feelings. And so anger is actually something that is necessary at times, and is very healthy because it does allow us to move forward and create change in action. The wood element is also linked to premenstrual syndrome as well. So that is kind of interesting. I had no idea about that. The element of, it's also related to the element of justice, not just social justice, but justice and having right relationships with everyday life, just having a really good life and choosing to see it the way you want it to be. And so it's the element that allows us to find our true path. And it talks about how it's rigidity versus flexibility. So it's all about being more flexible. The wood constitution allows us to have vision and imagination while also having the focus, direction, and drive to achieve whatever we wish to achieve. So do you have anything to add to that, Anna?
I think you pretty much summed it up perfectly.
Good.
I love thinking about the liver and gallbladder on the emotional side of things and what we tend to suppress. And they're so very much associated to each other when it comes to the wood element and breaking it down on an emotional level. And there's so many different layers to anger that, we experience as a frequency. Tying this into Healy, Healy is able to read different frequencies. And, sometimes I'll explain an emotion as, if we didn't have a word for anger, we know what anger feels like, or frustration. There's a little bit of a difference between the two. But we feel it as a frequency. If we didn't have words to be able to say, oh, this is anger, we would know just based off of the frequency and the emotion that we're actually feeling inside of our body. And so I love breaking down all that stuff. But when it comes to the wood element and foods that support the wood element, so say there's an imbalance, or you feel a little extra fiery in the liver region and gallbladder region, sour, associations to sour, and foods that are sour tend to help bring balance and support the wood element in the body. So beets, burdock, celery, parsley, watercress, artichokes, leeks, apples, cherries, plums, and when it comes to grainy food, rye is really good too. And the one thing that I love that I think Taryn pointed out is that most of these are built like wood, have consistencies of wood. These kind of rooty vegetables or the fibers to them are representative of the wood element, which I found really interesting. That,
Yeah,
you know, that tie into nature, that we have so much to learn from nature. It's amazing.
totally agree. Mhm. Did you want to go into the gallbladder first?
Yeah, yeah. So real quick, when the wood is imbalanced,
Oh,
I'll
okay,
just
great.
go into just
Yeah.
like the wood element imbalances. That can show up as, you know, the emotional side of things, of excess of anger or frustration. This can also be seen as boundary issues around power versus personal growth, having to be correct. And I say that and laugh at the same time because I know that I've like fallen into that, or any type of, you know, this like control and rigidity.
Mhm.
You know, that when you find yourself unable to be flexible in life, usually there's an imbalance of the wood element to be found. So being too assertive and direct all the way to passive. So there's both, you can be kind of passive aggressive,
Mhm.
but you can also be aggressive. And these are, you know, finding the harmony and neutral ground between the two is always good. Like I said, feeling rigid, or almost like a stiffness, and weakness to the body. And this can even be as like brittle nails, if your nails break easily. Um, your The wood element, like Kristen said, is also associated to the eyes. So if your eyes are weak or dry, constantly dry, there's usually some form of wood imbalance as well. Um, People experiencing insomnia where they wake up between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. And can't go back to sleep. So if you're experiencing racing thoughts between that time frame, there might be a liver wood imbalance that is good to take note of. So if you're somebody that typically wakes up at that time, just notice your thoughts, and even association to dream state. If you're coming out of a dream and you typically wake up around that time, it's really good to journal and just take note of what's showing up. Also, when wood is imbalanced, lack of organization versus being organized. So that's typically when wood is imbalanced in our system. But if we go into specifically the gallbladder, which is that 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Time frame, the gallbladder is the decision maker. So the decision making organ. So a lot of, if you're struggling with indecision, that's usually an emotional imbalance. That if somebody asks you like, hey, where do you want to go to eat, and what do you want to do this, then you don't really, like, you struggle to even like have a clear focus and can make a decision easily. Usually there's some form of imbalance there when it comes to, you know, look into the gallbladder. Gallbladder is responsible for storing and moving bile. It generates emotions such as panic and indecisiveness. Usually the indecisiveness can lead to panic. It's all just tied together in a nice big ball of fun. So if you've been repressing emotions, take note. It's definitely tied into the gallbladder and liver in some way. Is there anything you wanted to add to that, Kristen?
No, it's just I recognize times in my life when I was having all those issues, and it would have. It's interesting to relate it to the gallbladder. That's why I love these series, because we're starting to really understand how when certain things stagnate in the body, then and it doesn't move through us, then the organs will react, and we'll have all these emotions pent up, and it's just all connected. It's just so fascinating.
It is all connected. And one of the things, and I think we've mentioned this before, and also Dr. Michelle Patrick has mentioned this, is even if you have an organ that's removed, even like the gallbladder, you still have a bioenergetic imprint of that organ. So you still are able to affect the bioenergetics of the gallbladder. So energetically, if the root cause was an emotional cause, underlining issue to a gallbladder physical issue, usually there's an emotional tie to that that's still stored, almost like this ball of energy, like the size of a tennis ball or a grapefruit, that still lingers in that area of the body. And so even though the gallbladder may be taken out, the blueprint is still there, and the energy and frequency that's still vibrating there is still there. So it's very comparable to phantom limb syndrome and I forget what the other one is. There's another one, but I can't think of it. But yeah, it's fascinating how our body is just this energetic field of information. And the fact that Healy can pick up on that stuff.
Yeah.
It's that objective look at what information is stored in the field, and being able to scan yourself and figure out, like, on a physical level, what organs are showing up, scanning under the meridian system. You can figure out, doing a resonance scan with meridians 1 or meridians 2, you can kind of figure out, oh, is there anything that I should be aware of that's going on in my field? Because usually that shows up as a sign or symptom on a physical level.
Yeah. And the more we do this, the more we're going to start to link. If something shows up in the meridians, then look back at our notes and see the emotions going along, and then be able to correlate back and forth, which is so fascinating.
Yeah.
Just getting to that root cause of the support that we need to go to in order to help ourselves.
Absolutely. Taking power back in that sense is amazing.
So cool. So we'll go over all the Healy programs at the end.
Yeah.
Did you want to say anything more about the gallbladder? Did you want to go into
we can go right into the liver. We can go right into the liver.
Yeah.
So the liver is the planner. So the gallbladder is the decision maker. The liver is the planner. If we had to give them titles as to how they support us. It's also the organ of spring and regeneration. So if you can imagine the seed that's breaking through the soil into the plant, things like dandelion root are and things that you typically, flowers or herbs that you find in the spring, are tied into the liver in supporting the liver. The nature of the chi of the liver is up and out. So one of the liver's functions is to move chi in the flow for the emotions, and helps move emotions through the body, allowing us to process them. So when we do repress them, we're basically going against the flow of what our liver is there to help us do on an emotional level. Is there anything you want to add, Kristen, to
No,
that?
it's just funny. I just was thinking, I don't know, I was going back to how the liver has to do with frustration and anger. And I remember years ago when I was having therapy and I was always like, I guess like my therapist would say, "Are you angry?" I'm like, "No, I'm just frustrated." Like just like I was afraid to feel anger or even to own anger. And I didn't even know that I was angry. I just coined it as frustration. Um, and I don't know, it is quite amazing to be aware of how much we can store within our bodies and not let it up and out. Like I was just imagining the way that chi works is just move it up and out, just like the tree is just like up and out.
Yeah.
And I just love this correlation between the two, and kind of just referencing back to my own personal experience with frustration and anger, especially as a woman. And as I have come into, myself and all the work that I've done and whatnot, it feels so great to scream, like in a group environment and, pound a pillow or whatever it is, just to
Break a dish.
get it all, break a dish, do
Have
whatever.
you ever heard of those Wreck-It rooms where you just go in and
Oh,
you have a sledgehammer and like hammers and
oh my
different things,
God.
and you just go in, you can break like windshields of cars and plates, and I'm like, man, you put me in one of those rooms, I got some stuff.
That sounds
Get out.
awesome. I think everyone would love that.
Oh
Throw
my gosh.
paint, like throw paint across the room.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love it. Cool.
Well, and you know what's interesting is a lot of the times, like even with like the idea of like, oh, anger as like a bad emotion to feel, or like, you know, um, it's we were as a child, I experienced the same thing where it's like, you're good, you don't, we don't get angry, we don't have temper tantrums, calm down, kind of thing. And so you're never able to fully express what you need to express. And um, one of the things that I find fascinating is take it a next step and add in hatred.
Oh,
And hatred is a frequency that we've probably all experienced at some point in time. And there's almost like that negative connotation to like, oh, well, we don't hate anything. It's not good to hate something.
mm-hmm.
It's dislike. We dislike it, or we try to soften the emotion of like when we're really that angry and we're
Yeah.
really feeling that frequency of hatred. And there's such a taboo around that, but those, when we're caught up in that, that's when we start suppressing what we're actually feeling inside,
Yeah.
which can get pretty tricky.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I would say rage is like a really good word to use,
Yep.
to
Yep.
use rage in a way, in a positive way, how to learn
Yeah.
to rage in
Yep.
a way that's good. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So diving into liver chi stagnation, and just to kind of go over all the associated emotions that sometimes we tend to store in that liver gallbladder area. You're looking at anger, bitterness, guilt, hatred or rage, resentment, depression, frustration, indecisiveness, panic, or feeling even taken for granted. Those are some emotions that we store in that part of the body. But so liver chi stagnation causes fear to express yourself fully. Any form of repression or suppression of emotions. Anytime we've held back, when we're really feeling a certain way and we're just like too afraid to fully express ourselves, even if it's through body movement or voicing our opinion about something. That's just, it's like feeling emotionally backed up. It's like being emotionally constipated. You're just like holding on to all of it, unable to fully be in your true expression of self. So any form of being timid through our own repressed emotions, where we've been taught to not fully express ourselves, or programmed in any capacity, even as a child, or through life experiences where we've picked up on, what it is to repress emotions. So when we look at that, on an emotional level, it starts affecting us on a physical level. And sometimes that looks like bloating, gas, diarrhea, IBS issues. And the one thing that they mentioned in the video was people who sigh a lot, people who complain or sigh a lot. And when I thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like people releasing pressure slowly. That's what it is to sigh. When we like, when you've been in a situation where you're like, you just kind of let it go. That is all that pressure that's kind of built up, and we need some form of release. And that sigh, you catch yourself constantly sighing, there might be some more pressure below the surface.
Interesting.
Yeah. So certain forms of depression, like moodiness, melancholy, unhappiness, and generally feeling tense, abdominal distension, acid reflux. One of the things that they said was plum stone throat. And I was like, I need to look this up. What is plum stone throat?
Yeah.
So plum stone throat is when you have like a funny feeling in your throat. It's not a soreness, but it almost feels like there's a stone or a pit of a plum inside your throat.
Would that just be like a lump in your throat feeling? Like I've had that before, like when you feel like you're trying to hold back something or you're tense. Is that what that is?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure because I've never really experienced anything like that. More so maybe like hard to swallow. So maybe I have. But yeah, it's like that pit in your throat. I was like, I never knew that was a thing.
I've definitely had like a lump in my throat, but I've never thought of it as like a actually feeling something. It's more just like this tightness, but it does feel like a lump.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
Who knows? So another liver qi stagnation red flag might be irregular menstrual cycles, and breast tenderness as you're coming up on your cycle. A lot of people always associate it to like forms of like MS and your body's going through like the thing, all this other stuff, but it could be tied into liver qi stagnation. Blood deficiencies. Also, one thing I found interesting was the frontal lobe headaches and chronic migraines, especially on the sides of your head and towards your eyes. That can be also associated to liver qi stagnation. So if you're somebody that typically gets headaches or chronic headaches, especially this like frontal side part, maybe run a liver program and see what happens. That's getting to the root cause, as opposed to, there are Healy programs that you can run that are, for, I think they're the stimulation programs, the pain and stimulation programs. But this is where we take a deeper dive into what is the actual root cause. And just becoming more aware of the signs and symptoms that our body's giving us.
And if you're experiencing that and you're doing a scan and liver comes up, you're thinking, but I have a headache. Now we understand, okay, that's root cause stuff, which is really helpful.
Yeah. Lack of color in life because of lack of vision. So feeling stagnant in that sense. Inability to take a stand for ourselves or anything else in life. Feeling like you have no direction in life. And starting things and not being able to finish them. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm like reading through this list and I'm like, Beth Ann, I saw you raise your hand. So it's so funny because when you start looking at this, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm ticking another box. Oh my gosh, I'm ticking another box. And it doesn't hurt to run a program. a liver program, just to see if like things start moving in your life. Maybe you finish a project you've been holding off on or started and haven't come back around to. Um, so
It's funny, I've been drawn towards liver for some weird reason, like the last 3 weeks, and circulation. And I think I read something on the liver is affected with all the female stuff as well. And, I'm 55, so I was thrown into menopause through a hysterectomy years ago, but I'm like, I'm still at the age where your body changes. And I'm like, is that what I'm doing? I'm like, don't question. That's what you were brought to. And now you're doing this. It's like, oh my God, because I'm not getting things done and I'm scatterbrained. I have a lump in my throat.
Oh no.
I'm late to the call. And oh my God, I don't know. She's talking about me, you guys.
Oh my God, it's too funny. I mean, that's when we start looking at turning inward and just like this self-reflection through this amazing information that was given to us by Dr. Michelle Patrick. Like, this is what takes self-mastery and understanding the self to the next level, where we're just tuning in even deeper, and it allows us to make better, wiser decisions on how we want to move forward. And when our intuition is saying, hey, liver, now we understand why. So I love it.
Yep.
I guess the last but not least we have here, feeling like you're always running into a brick wall, and you can't get anywhere. So if you feel like you're constantly just like hitting the wall, not being able to move forward, that can be a sign of liver qi stagnation.
Yeah.
So, Kristen, do you want to share the supporting ways to support our livers?
Yeah. So chemicals and anything toxic is going to go through the liver. And that's what the liver wants to do, is just eliminate whatever is not good for our bodies. So rancid fats are not good, oils and recreational drugs, including marijuana. I thought that was kind of interesting, that marijuana, like plant medicine, would be hard on the liver, but she didn't go into a whole lot about that, but it's probably just another type of substance that the liver has to process. So
do you know what I found? And not to interrupt you,
yeah.
One thing that I found interesting, she said she participated in a study
about
drinking alcohol, and actually, and alcohol and addiction is also tied into the liver and that kind of stuff. But she was saying how like small amounts of alcohol actually help stimulate the liver to push things through.
Yeah.
Which I was like, wait a second, should I be drinking more? Like, what does this mean for me?
Yeah, I remember her saying that. She said small amounts of alcohol help push the bile through the liver, which is a good thing, as long as you're not doing too much of it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, like last night I had we're at the beach still. It's my birthday week, and my daughter made these most amazing strawberry margaritas, and they didn't taste, they just tasted yummy. Like, it didn't really taste like it had any alcohol in it. But they were really icy and cold. And the next thing is, then cold drinks are bad for the liver. And I don't typically drink cold stuff, but yeah, today my stomach wasn't really happy. I definitely had wasn't it. So I'm thinking, yeah, it was definitely liver. My liver was saying, didn't like the cold and didn't like all that tequila. But it was fun nonetheless. Oh my gosh. And then to clear liver qi stagnation, think about what you are repressing in your life. We've kind of talked about, what are you scared of? What do you fear about being in your full expression of creation and communication? Interesting. It's all so connected. And then, as Anna had talked about, some of the tonics are dandelion tea, or tinctures, peppermint, and I have a bunch of peppermint and spearmint in my water right now, and milk thistle. So those are great for the liver. And then this one is great, just giving your liver a massage. You can palpate your liver by laying down and using the heel of your hand to massage in to your liver and the lower right abdominal area underneath your lowest rib cage. And I don't know about you guys, have you, I had a toxic overload of hormones in my body from the last doctor that I worked with in 2019, when she was giving me bioidentical hormones, and I ended up having a tremendous overdose. And my liver ached. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced anything where your liver hurts. Actually, every organ in my body hurt, but I remember the liver was the one that was like screaming at me. And it was scary as hell because I didn't know what to do, but I just remember kind of rubbing it and feeling like, ow, I can feel you. So it's not a good feeling. But our livers are super regenerative. And that is so lovely to know about our livers. So as we massage them and we love them and we take better care of them with the things that we put in our bodies, and we also try to be mindful of the chemicals that we use in our homes, try to go as chemical free as possible, because anything like that or anything you put on your body is toxic, that is toxic or that is not healthy for your body, gets absorbed into your bloodstream, and then your liver has to deal with it. So just being mindful of the whole, environment, and then what we put in it, and then what we put on our bodies as well. So,
One thing that she had said, Dr. Michelle Patrick had said about milk thistle, which I thought was really interesting, was she was like, well, it's not just for detoxifying the body of toxic chemicals, but also toxic people. And I was like, that's fascinating to think about. Like if we been susceptible to toxic people in our lives, maybe there's some liver stuff that needs to be moved through. So milk thistle, if you got anybody around you that you've been thinking about.
Really, honestly, it's so connected. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go into the Healy programs that are suggested, and then we can do those little hacks, and then we'll go into just the little Feng Shui tips.
Sounds great.
Yeah, so we can just kind of share back and forth. So Healy Gold, the energy program is a great one for the flow and stagnation of chi. So just allowing anything that's stagnant in our body to get that energy flowing is great. Now, I just love thinking of liver as moving everything up and out. So like even, I don't know if circulation's in there, but that might be a good one too. Care, because the liver can get hot and angry and start giving you headaches. That's so interesting. When I see care come up for me, sometimes I'm like, I wonder what that's all about. And, I'm sure care is related to a lot of different things. And then the bioenergetic harmony 1, chilling, is great for the liver chi. And then of course the eyes, it's great for a symbiotic relationship to the liver for vision and sight. And so anything that has to do with weak eyes or floaters. I have floaters in my eyes. So my liver, I feel like I still probably have some repercussions from my liver having to rebound back from everything that I went through. So in reading all this, I'm realizing, wow, I think I need to give my liver more love on many levels and support it. And then of course, bioenergetic harmony 2 would be liver. And then do you want to share the other ones?
Sure. Yeah. So meridians 1, gallbladder, especially if you are struggling with decision making, which I do. And I also think about, you're talking about this overdose of hormones and the way that your body responded. I just stopped a medication that I've been on for 16 plus years. So the fact that liver and gallbladder is up the same week that it is also medication tied into my eyes.
Wow.
this is the
Yeah.
universe is showing me some signs
Uh-huh.
here.
The new moon, quick moves.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's all amazing how it always unfolds. But
Yeah.
so you better believe Meridians 2 liver, we'll be running that tonight.
I have a question. I have a question for you guys, because I see the liver on the two different things that I've meant to ask this on a lot of the past questions, calls. You know, we have liver in a couple different areas. We're going to use liver at this time. You know, what is the? I understand the difference within each like program screen to some level, but I mean, are they doing two different things when we're running the liver and like when we're running liver under, you know, the Harmonia 2 or Meridian 2? I mean, what's it do? Do we know what the difference is? Do they explain that in their lists or?
Well, as far as I know, they don't explain much. It's always the bioenergetic balance of liver. But the meridians are the highways of the liver, the pathways, the meridians are to all the organs. And so there's just different frequencies they put in that one versus what they would put in the actual meridian 2 of bioenergetic harmony, just specifically for the organ of the liver. And then the digital nutrition, they have liver again, and that's all just different types of nutrients and vitamins that support it. So I don't think they give us very much information, but I think they look at it from all these different angles, and there's frequencies that support the meridians, there's frequencies that support the actual organ, and then there's frequencies for the nutrition. So does that make sense?
It does, you know, on that. And then I want to go one step further with that too, is kind of like, so I don't have a gallbladder. So running gallbladder, what does that affect? Like, I know I can live without it. I've lived without it for years, but at the same time, running the gallbladder, is that like helping subsidize because I don't have one? Or?
Well, Anna, do you want to answer that question?
Sure. So you still have the energetic blueprint of the gallbladder. So
Okay.
all the information that was stored there before is still there. And so if gallbladder is showing up in a scan, even though you don't have a gallbladder, you still have the blueprint. The
So my body still remembers it. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And even with, so like when it comes to say the difference between the meridians, the digital nutrition, and the bioenergetic harmony of liver, exactly what Kristen said, even in the digital nutrition with the liver, it's vitamins like vitamin K and things that support the eyes. It's not just the liver, it's also vitamins that support what the liver is associated to in the body.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that one you're looking at like, oh, if I needed that type of supplement to support that part of the body or the issues that you've been experiencing for, you know, whatever, those are always good.
Okay.
So hopefully that.
It's a great question.
Yeah, that helped a lot. I just wanted to make sure they were like, I figured they were not totally different frequencies, but supporting different things. But I just wanted to make sure that that's the way I was looking at it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I think that like the best, like Kristen said, it's just supporting all different aspects of the liver itself, whether it's on a physical level, energetic level, the, you know, spiritual level, the supplemental level, for, you know, so it's just, yeah, I think it hits it from all different angles, which is good. A lot of people don't realize allergies is also tied into the liver, and liver qi stagnation, especially with like hay fever. And if you get redness in the eyes and you get allergies and kind of have like dry eyes, itchy eyes, all tied into liver. So in digital nutrition, you can run liver, allergies. That's just a reflection of congestion in the liver. And you can also run the energy program that will help kind of like circulate the energy moving through the body. You can also run solar plexus. That is where the liver is and gallbladder is tied into on a chakra level. So under chakra programs, the solar plexus for our personal power, giving us the ability to have vision and direction, and our imagination and our lives, especially used with command and intention. And I love that that's noted there.
Mhm.
So if you are going to run a chakra program, especially for the solar plexus, like what is the intention when you're actually running those frequencies and you're hooked up? Really knowing like what you want. This is the decision. This is what I want. This is the clear vision. This is what I've been feeling. And support that motivation and that fire to move forward with the solar plexus program. You can also run bioenergetic vitalization programs, cell, nerves, and tissues. And the bioenergetic support programs of coherence, and that will support the ability to see things as they are quantumly and divinely. That's that brain and heart coherence. And one of the things that I saw that Ken Close will do is he will run a microcurrent program. Now he has 2 Heelys, but he will run a microcurrent program for the physical vessel, and he will run the frequency through the coil. He'll run the coherence program at the same time as what he's running. If the support is on the liver, he would be running microcurrent on the liver and what the intention is, or the solar plexus, and then running coherence in order to get everything in alignment on a quantum level, which I thought was pretty cool.
Get there faster. I love it. Biohack even further.
Yep. Biohack. Yep.
Mhm. Yep. And then going into, just have a couple more things on here. She also spoke about, and I don't know if this was all tied into liver development, but on the video, she talked about a jet lag hack that has a lot to do with our metabolism and internal clock. So not to eat on a plane, and don't eat until you wake up the next day after you've arrived, because it will help your digestion to start properly. And I know she was also talking about the chi of digestion too, has to do with liver as well. And I think Taryn was asking her just about jet lag, and when you go, I think we were talking about the time frame of spring, because the liver has to do with spring, and then say you end up traveling to another country and you're in the fall season, like how do you jump back and forth? Because your body, we're so connected in with nature, even though we don't always realize it, that our organs are tuned into that time frame of the seasons. And so when we jump around, our bodies get out of whack. So one of the things to help with that is just not eat on the plane, and then eat when you get to where you've arrived. And then a rheumatoid hack is potato juice. They ended with this and it sounded interesting. So I'd love to see if anyone has a juicer and they want to try this. Try
hard pass.
What'd you say?
I said hard pass over.
I don't know. I mean, I have one at home, that juicers are a pain, but
yeah.
So it's good for glowing skin, digestion, acid reflux, inflammation in the joints, and the liver. And she said, if you do it for a week, your skin's glowing and you look amazing. And to do it, drink it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and don't eat anything for 45 minutes. And do not do after a night of indulging, or you will throw up. Okay. Ooh, I don't know. It doesn't sound too good.
Don't do potato juice right now, Kristen.
Sounds pretty gross. Sounds pretty gross.
Birthday indulgence. It doesn't sound like potato juice.
Does not sound good. I'm having too much fun right now, so I think I'm just going to say no to that. So I don't want to get too much into, I mean, does anyone have an intention, anything like stand out to them for this? What you've learned tonight, you'd like to take into next week? Anything that has captured you?
Mine
One
is
of
going
the
to be
things-
focused one thing at a time.
I like that. I like that. Yeah,
To allow myself to be in the moment.
nice.
I would add, I want to be consistent. And I've been doing this, but I want to do more than one program a day. Because I can feel it, but I just, want to access like both organs. So to be consistent and really mindful of using that, like I was doing the liver, I had to click it up to like 90% before I got rid of the black. I'm like, oh, I think I need to use this one. So at different times. So I just taking more advantage of it.
Yeah, good. Good.
Well, I look at the liver and see so many applications. It's kind of like it's going to take me like 3 weeks to even go through the thing one time. But I think try a few things and I'll write notes and see what I get the best results on for me.
Yeah, that's good. Really good. Donna, did you want to share anything?
Well, I just will say that it's kind of ironic we were talking about liver today. I think I'd shared that part of the reason why I got into this was because of my husband. And, we went to a liver transplant this week because he has NASH and he has a lot of these things that iron overload that, as the doctor told us this week, it's not the liver. The liver is basically, the what was the word, Beth Ann? I think I told you. It was like,
Well,
it was
The
just
liver's
like,
taking the brunt of everything.
yeah, because he has iron overload. I mean, we're having to start this process of a liver transplant, which has been extremely overwhelming this week. So it was just so ironic that we were talking about liver and, having to, go through this whole process. And so it's a lot to absorb, but because of his heritage and the NASH that he has, there's really no cure, and so this has been a pretty overwhelming week to say the least. So all of this was pretty interesting, and I've been running a lot of the liver programs on him, but I think we're at a point that there's not a whole lot. I mean, we're going through a path that is going to he'll have to have a liver transplant, and it might not be now, it might be in 5 years or whatever, but yeah, that's part of the reason why I got in this whole deal. And so it's been pretty overwhelming this week. So the whole time that we were doing this, I wasn't doing the liver, I was doing the positive thoughts so that I could stay positive and not lose it after everything we've been going through this week. So yeah.
Well, bless you. Thank you for sharing. That's got to be really hard to go through.
It is. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Inner strength is a good one.
Yeah, it is a really good one. It is a good one. And we're here, and it's good to know that at least you can support him with Healy and maybe that can extend and change things. You never know, you just never know. So,
well, he's open to it. So that's the first step, right? I mean, is to be open to it. And he has been. So we're having to make a lot of changes, and it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, one of the biggest changes is, he can only have 1.5 liters of any kind of liquid in a day. And that's not very much. I mean, that's 41 ounces.
Mm,
So when you think about, I drink a lot of water, and, whether, black coffee is one of the best things for the liver. He really has to limit his fluid intake, and that's going to be a challenge,
mhm.
for a while, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing and hang in there. Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm here.
I'm
Because
glad
I had a really, really rough night last night, and I was like, I have to do this. Because I tell you what, if it wasn't for the Healy, I don't think I would have got through last night.
Yeah, I know.
And most of it is mental. I mean, the mental part of it,
Yeah.
just staying positive, and that's
Yeah.
a hard part.
Yeah, it is. It is. That emotional support is really helpful, and just to be able to share with other people. And another program I love to run is Being, because that's like well-being for the soul. That is a really good one that I've found when I'm going through something that's
Mhm.
super supportive. So yeah, hang in there.
It is pretty amazing though, when I get that, because I'm not anxious. I don't have depression. I don't have anxiety, but I've felt it kind of this week, and I immediately just put the Healy on,
Mhm.
and it went away.
Mm,
Probably in about 5 minutes. And I've kind of really lived on that right now. Just getting me through all the different aspects that we've been going through. So
thank goodness you have it. That's
I
It was
know.
cute. It was cute to hear them though. When Donna and I talked once earlier this week, she said, he went to bed the other night and he's like, well, I'm going to bed. And like, he was running a program. Okay, I suppose you can have it. It was like, okay, what's it? Wow.
Aw,
Yeah.
So it's
great.
like, I was like, yeah, you're having my extra one now. But it was good that he's open to it, with
He's very
everything. And,
open to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
they've been at the doctors every other day for the past couple weeks. So it's been trying on them. So,
Well, he's had in the last, what was it, Beth Ann? In the last maybe 6 weeks, he's
if
had,
that long.
yeah, I don't even know. He's had, we're right at 21 liters drained out of his lung.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's a lot. And we're going in the morning at 7:30 to do it again. And I feel for him, because it can't be pleasant,
Mhm.
They did 2.5 liters on Wednesday, and they almost had it all, but he just couldn't take it anymore. And, the lung, one of the things is that when you take that much out, you have to worry about the lung collapsing. And so that's one of the things we have to watch is his oxygen, and like I said, the liver transplant, he said, you've got everything going against you. You've got hemochromatosis, which is the iron overload with the blood. And then also the, NASH, which is, basically the failure of liver. So it's been an overwhelming couple of weeks, hasn't it, Beth?
Although, I do have to say she's come through with a trooper because she's ran the programs. But
Mhm. Yeah, that's amazing.
you have to allow, because I'm learning it myself, to be in the moment and to let the emotions out.
Mhm.
Yeah. Last night was tough. I was up most of the night, and I was running my Healy, mostly with my coil. It was the
Yeah.
sleep, or it was the, anxiety, or any of that, because it's all so overwhelming at one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yep.
Yeah. And your Healy's almost like a little angel, like a little guide to help you kind of get through it.
It is.
Well, it really is. I mean, and I feel it most with the mental part of it, or the sleep part. And that's another aspect. I mean, since 2016, I have not really been able to sleep. If I can get maybe 3 or 4 hours, that's a good night for me. And it all happened when I had my second round of breast cancer, and I had to go through the double mastectomy, and then they, had tubes in there for months. And So I just couldn't sleep. And I think my body just got accustomed to not sleeping. And so that's what happens. And so I have a lot of sleep problems. And I mean, I went through everything, over counter and anything that I could take just to help me sleep. The one thing I will say, this one right here, the sleep system has helped me tremendously to be able to at least sleep. I'm now at least getting, if I can get 5 to 6 hours, it's pretty good for me.
That's great. That's
Mhm.
that's wonderful. I applaud you for having it. I'm so glad it's helping. I can say had tons of anxiety and insomnia. And I wish I'd had Healy when I was going through all that. So I'm really, really
Right.
glad that you have that. We're kind of getting towards the end here. So I just wanted to finish up here with the, let's see if I can move this down, with the Feng Shui bit. Okay. And present. All right. So I'm going to go back here and just finish up here with bringing the wood element into your home, because it's about taking care of our bodies, our mind, our spirit, and our environment. And so the wood element in Feng Shui has to do with being creative, with new life, with growth. It's nourishing, it's flexible, it's opinionated, it's strong, it's trusting, and it's decisive. Has to do with the season of spring, and the time is early morning. We've already talked about that. The direction in your home is the east, and the life aspiration, well, it's actually east and southeast. It's both areas is the wood element. The life aspiration for the east is family and ancestors. And in the southeast, I realize I didn't even put this in, is your wealth and prosperity. The body part has to do with liver, gallbladder, feet, and throat. I know it's a little different in the Feng Shui part. The creative element that feeds wood is water, and the destructive element is metal. If you think of an axe that cuts through wood, that would be destructive. And then fire is the one that reduces wood. And the qualities of wood are the colors green. There's always a person in the household with each element, and the wood element has to do with the eldest son. So if there's issues with like the person in the home, you can look up what the element is, you can look up the direction, and then you can just kind of address looking at your home as a roadmap to figuring out how can you support that person or that aspect in your life. The movement is upward growth, and the materials that you can use in your home is all types of wood, live and silk plants, flowers, herbs, natural fibers, and fabrics. And the shapes are rectangular, they're tall, they're upright forms, and they're oblong. And if you want to enhance the spirit of creativity, put yourself in a wood element. And the qualities, once again, are when you're in balance, there's flexibility and go with the flow. You're feeling creative. You are growing personally, doing personal growth. You're determined, and it's all about health and positive chi. And when it's out of balance, there's inflexibility. You can feel blocked, judgmental, and then sickness and stagnation also can show up. And the colors of wood are just all different variations of green, all the way up into some turquoisey colors, and earthy tones and bright greens, just any form of green. And then the decor in the home, anything that is rectangular. So this actually shows wood, a wood base on it, which would make it even more wood, but it could be any color. It would still, the shape of it is still representing wood. And so when you have floor to ceiling draperies, that's also something long and vertical. So that's representing the wood element. Obviously, adding wood to your walls or your ceiling, having this is actually just the wood paneling that goes all the way across, or a wood headboard, putting plants in, and then maybe like a sisal rug. Here is just a wood rectangular piece of furniture, and then having plants in the home also supports the wood element. And then Feng Shui do's to enhance this area. Enhance with the wood element when your health needs a boost. If you are recovering from surgery, you would like your relationships with your family or relatives to improve, and this would be kind of like in the East area, and grow and improve your family of choice. And by enhancing, you can add healthy plants or fresh cut flowers. You can add photos of family and friends in the East area. You can add pictures of plants, gardens, flowers, preferably in blues and greens. They don't have to be, but just adding those colors also enhance the wood element. Any kind of decor in all things wood, and add things that have association with health and family. So mementos, maybe athletic awards, things like that, that can also enhance the wood element. And then the Feng Shui do nots, we want to avoid spiky plants just because they can injure you. So everything in Feng Shui is about keeping you safe. So not having pointy things, because they can also create poison arrows and direct a poison arrow towards you. And then we really recommend not doing any type of dried flowers in the home, because that's dead qi, it's not living. And definitely remove any kind of dead flowers or half looking sick plants for sure, because that also has just very low qi. And then we want to avoid having excessive plants in the bedroom, because they're all about, moving upward growth. They're yang energy, and your bedroom is all about the most yin area that you want in your entire home. So some of my Feng Shui teachers basically say, don't have any plants in your bedroom at all. I think that's a little extreme. So I have a few plants in my room, but I try not to add too many, just because some plants grow at nighttime and then they'll put out oxygen, and then it can disrupt your sleep. And so you really want it to be yin, I'm sorry, not yang. And then finally, a little Feng Shui fashion. The wood element personality and Feng Shui fashion is the pioneer, because it's all about new beginnings and creating new things and being willing to go out and look for new stuff. And the colors are green and blue. And so it, once again, has to do with tall, slim fitting clothing, things that are very tailored, nothing really flowy. Flowy would be more like water. We did that last week. So floral patterns are definitely the wood element. Stripes are a definite wood element. Things that are ribbed are also wood element. Also like a sporty look, that would be considered a wood element. And then any natural fiber based fabric would be like linen, something like that would also be the wood element. So that completes that. Does anyone have any questions? I always love pulling these slides together. It's so much fun.
When are you going to come take care of my whole house?
Yeah.
And then go to my wardrobe.
Right? I know.
And then go with
Yeah.
the jewelry. And then
Yeah, I know. Oh, and I wanted to show you what I'm wearing. Wearing the tree of life today.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I forgot to show you
Beautiful.
guys.
Oh,
I
that
got
is so
that. I got that in Sedona, and I just love it. So I've been trying to theme my clothing around the call.
Love it.
Yeah, unless anyone has any questions or anything, or we went over the hour, but we learned a lot. That's for darn sure. It was
Yes.
it was a good call. It was a really good call and a good share. Thank you for sharing, Donna and Beth Ann, and yeah, I appreciate all of you guys. So yeah,
Enjoy the rest of your birthday week.
thank you so
Yes.
much. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you guys. And we will see you next week. Next week is going to be spiritual and quantum aspects of, I think, the organs, and we're going because we already did the 5 elements. So now we're going into those more quantum spiritual stuff, which will be really, really neat. I'm looking forward to that.
Are you posting these on the Vibe Tribe site or it's just the Facebook?
They're in
These
the
sheets.
Solstice Sync Up group.
Okay.
Facebook group. That's where we've been putting everything. And then I have been putting it in the Telegram Vibe Tribe group as well.
Okay.
So that's where they are.
Because last week I didn't get page 2.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't get that in my, well, unless I didn't look at it again, when you sent it out, because I wasn't on last week's call.
Okay.
So I didn't get like the second page where it does what we should run and all the programs.
Oh, okay. I think it's.
So I got, yeah. So if you could, I don't know if you don't mind resending that or something. I'm
Yeah,
not on Facebook, so.
And you can always just type, if you're missing something, just write in there and I'll respond. So
And I meant to, and then I never followed up on it until I got these today, and
okay. Yeah.
Liver.
Yeah.
that's what I was running. Exactly. Concentration, remembering, finishing tasks. I get it.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Everyone have a great night, and Pepper, stay on and we will figure out your issue.
And Donna, good luck with Tom tomorrow.
Thank you. I'll talk to you in the morning.
All righty.